Hello, everyone. My name is Alfonso Wenker, and welcome to the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation's Facing Race Awards. For the past 18 years, we've honored incredible leaders in our communities who are working tirelessly to end racism and create a more racially just Minnesota. With this award, we celebrate their stories, their passion, and their impact. These annual awards are a time for us to recognize, celebrate, and learn from those who are using their talents and life experiences to make Minnesota a better place for everyone. A few years ago, I was humbled to receive a Facing Race Award myself. It was a powerful experience to be nominated by my peers for recognition of my efforts to advance racial equity. Now, that commitment continues at the Foundation. I'm thrilled to be with you today as the Vice President of the Foundation's Community Impact Team, as I introduce the moving stories of those who join me in this special recognition. Before I begin, I want to share that this award is truly community-led. Each recipient was first nominated by a community member and then selected by a panel of previous award winners. All right, let's get to our show. Elena Gutierrez is working to ensure that Minnesota is safe for Latinx immigrants. As the executive director of Fe y Justicia, or Faith and Justice, she uses her experience as a Mexican immigrant to provide undocumented individuals and their families with resources such as identification, education, legal aid, and healthcare. Her nominator said, "The trust that Elena has built within the central Minnesota Latinx community is powerfully, intentionally, and consistently fueling empowerment, driving change, and breaking down systems of oppression. She is an inspirational changemaker with skills to make an impact at a local, state, and national level."
Fe y Justicia is what we believe, because to do justice, we gotta have faith in what we believe and what we deserve. That is about Fe y Justicia, faith and justice. My name is Elena Gutierrez. I am from Mexico. I work at Fe y Justicia. This is me. When I arrived here in St. Cloud, Minnesota, there were a lot of discrimination. The representatives that we have in the area were anti-immigrant. Most of the time there were somebody watching of our community. People were arrested, put in jail, and deported. When the community is afraid, we are not able to function, we are not able to keep going. And our kids suffer that. I was in fear for many years, but I said, somebody has to do this. Somebody has to step up. If we don't do ourselves, who's gonna do it? I start here in St. Joseph's Church in Way Park. Being a part of social justice, doing social justice work, we didn't know how to connect with a lawyer. We didn't know how to connect with the government, with the state. We were not knowing anything about our rights. I didn't know anything about this. I not even know that I can do this. And now Fe y Justicia is working on the workers' rights. Also, we have immigration clinics. We also do the healthcare clinic. By having this healthcare clinic, we have been having the testimonies to take it to the legislation and to pass healthcare for all. By having a lot of education through the community stand up for themselves and talk about what is happening. We need to keep working, to keep doing changes, to have a better place. It's really important to have immigration reform, to be recognized as part of the community, to be recognized like we fit or we are part of this community. This work has been changed my life. Yes, we went through a lot, but through the years, there has been a lot of changes. This is our prize to have a better community. Our kids are gonna live in a better community. I feel happy now. I feel a lot better living in Minnesota. I am proud of receiving the Facing Race Award. What that means for me, face race, every human deserves to have a better life, no matter of race, color, or gender. And when there's something wrong, I just say, this is wrong. This is not okay. By being persistent and believe what you are doing is right. Believe on what you are fighting for is the right for that human person.
As an organizer, leader, changemaker, and activist, Ma Elena strives to shrink equity gaps impacting Latinx communities, providing the faith to believe that justice is possible. Tish Jones is an educator, activist, narrative strategist, and poet who utilizes the art of spoken word to advocate against the racial injustices that impact Black communities. Whether she's on the mic or in the classroom, Tish can be found using her knowledge of hip-hop history and culture to cultivate avenues for change while empowering others to amplify their voices. Her nominator said, "Tish understands what words have the power to do. She also knows that people are the fuel that make change happen in the world."
There's an urgency that I have to be free. And there's an urgency that I have to be a part of bringing about the freedom of Black people in this world, because we deserve freedom and we deserve a sense of self.
Give it up for the mighty Tish Jones!
And that is what drives the art that is thinking about social impact. Peace, my name is Tish Jones, poet, cultural producer, organizer from the historic Rondo neighborhood in St. Paul, Minnesota. When I was younger, Professor Mahmoud El-Kati, I think I was like 14, he pulled me aside and he said, "Your job is to be the bridge between the streets and the scholars." And he was my elder then and is my elder now, and I took that responsibility seriously. So I've used my art to do exactly that.
Before I was born, there was movement. Paddles pushing pent-up people through oceans of pain. That explains my fear of water. When I was born, there was movement still.
What it takes to make art that is thinking about social impact is bravery. It's the bravery of bearing witness and then sharing what you've witnessed in an artful way. Art has a way of capturing experiences and translating them in a way that is not always as abrasive as an encounter, a conversation, a debate, right? It can inspire people to act, to think, to move, to feel differently. There are not necessarily many things in the world that inspire folk to change.
I also serve as the founding executive director of True Art Speaks. True Art Speaks is an arts and culture nonprofit based in St. Paul, Minnesota. Our mission is to cultivate literacy, leadership, and social justice through the study and application of spoken word and hip-hop culture.
We define hip-hop as a culture and movement, the four core elements being DJing, graffiti, MCing, and hip-hop dance, breaking. Why I love hip-hop is because it is a culture. It's comprised of so many elements. I don't need to say words necessarily to get you to understand me. I could play a track, play some music, design a really dope set, and dance, and you feel what I'm trying to express to you. I can paint a mural, and you feel what I need to express to you. We have always been core, by we I mean hip-hop practitioners, we have always been core participants in the narrative about the experience of poor people in this country. Specifically poor Black people, poor brown people, right? We have always used this medium as a form of counter media, And that is what has given us this platform and this ability to shift change at the level that we're doing it right now. We've seen, hip hop participate in social movements in South Africa with Afrikaans. We've seen hip hop in London, and how it was utilized during various protests on the streets of London. I hope we always speak truth to power through hip hop. I hope we also always listen to the stories told within any medium of hip hop, because they are our truths. And we will learn more about ourselves if we listen to them to learn rather than to judge. Yo, I am so honored to be a 2024 Facing Race recipient. I'm humbled to be a part of the lineage of so many great people. To me, Facing Race means everything other than I don't see color, right? It means seeing the ways that we have been taught to think about color, skin color specifically. It means seeing one another's humanity, being curious, and being loving, brave, and loving in our actions, and risking honesty. We have to risk being honest with one another, but first honest with ourselves. So my hope is that we are courageously honest, courageously brave, and working cohesively towards a better future for all of us.
Tish serves as a bridge between the streets and the scholars. As the founder and executive director of True Art Speaks, she inspires others to express their feelings through art at her weekly event, the Reverb Open Mic at Flava Cafe. Jametta Raspberry uses food as a gateway to social change. When she's not leading her pop-up and catering business, House of Gristle, this chef and mentor serves as the executive director of Roots for the Home Team, utilizing the power of food education, community, and entrepreneurship to empower youth. Her nominator said, "As a Black woman, Jametta speaks the truth about racism and sexism in the food industry. From fine dining, to fast food, to harvesting and processing, people of color and women provide the labor that get our meals to the table."
Food, to me, is power. It's a powerful tool for the progression of humanity, the understanding of why we're here. My name is Jametta Raspberry. I am the chef and owner of House of Gristle. I am also the executive director for Roots for the Home Team. What led me to become a chef was a form of rebellion against, I think, myself, my family, and society. I wanted to take a risk. I wanted to do something drastic. So I went to Le Cordon Bleu to become a chef. While I was in school is when I realized this is something I really thoroughly enjoyed and was actually really good at. I started out in fine dining. That was my very first job. There was a lot of sexism, a lot of racism, and they came in creative forms. It could be jokes, passive aggressive, to very overt, hostile, unsafe situations at my workplace. So it was an intense reflection every time I had those experiences of how I was going to create my own path to what success meant for me as a chef. I believe that there are two demographics of people that can help change and shape this industry. And one of them are formerly incarcerated people, and the other part is youth, young kids. Roots for the Home Team is a youth entrepreneurship program. We teach kids how to run a salad business out of Target Field and Allianz Field. Starting a business saved my life. It's really important for me to kind of pass this entrepreneurial spirit along through our youth. Their voice is important to the future of our food and how we eat. Healthy food has been whitewashed. There's only one kind of representation of what healthy food really means. Our kids come from all different backgrounds and cultures, and they eat healthy too. And if you have a message of health, you've got 20,000 customers in one spot. try to figure out how to get your message across. And I think that's a great challenge. And I'm really excited to see where they take this organization. The House of Gristle is a house of connection. You know, it's my catering, it's my storytelling, it's my voice, it's my past, it's what I envision as the future, all encompassing in this really cool brand called House of Gristle. Gristle means so much to me. I think as a dictionary would say it, gristle is something that is inedible. When I read that, I was immediately like, no, that's inaccurate. I've eaten it all of my life. A lot of people in my world, in my culture, in my family, in my community eats it. Gristle is what connects the bones together. And so this through line of connection is something that kind of set on my heart and spirit for a very long time. Gristle is what I hope we use as a metaphor for the future of us. How are we going to unite our differences together? I'm honored to be the Facing Race Award recipient. Facing race to me means you have to face it. I am blessed to have a connection with food, but also I feel entitled to my space. I want Black women to feel entitled to that connection. And I feel that there's more that needs to be taken back and reclaimed. It's really important to show that there's a place here for people like us.
There is beauty in food, much like there is in people. Jametta believes Black women are like pomegranates. Once you peel back the outer shell, there is sweetness at your fingertips. Larry Tucker knows the importance of mental health, specifically in the African American community. As co-founder and executive director of Kinte Circle and Kinte Circle Training Institute, he is shifting the way mental health practitioners and laypeople, such as barbers and stylists, work with clients of color to address racial trauma. His nominator said, Larry gives back to his community by providing access to ongoing support and improved quality of life, both in his vocation and in his free time.
We really hope that people recognize that they are the healing that they're looking for, that everything that we need is already within us. My name is Larry Tucker, and I am the owner of Kinte Circle and the executive director of Kinte Circle Training Institute. When we started Kinte Circle, it was with the intention of creating space for people of color, because the system and organizations that existed were created for white people. Kinte Circle was created with the intention of looking at race and culture and empowering folks, and therapy is an opportunity to do that. You know, one of the things that I'm most proud of is the trust that the community has given us, that they have bestowed on us. And so what we've tried to do is leverage that trust by creating larger opportunities at our trainings. You know, professionals, teachers, probation officers, social workers, lay people can come to our trainings and get trained in, you know, basic mental health skills and practices that the community has used forever as a way of healing itself. As a community, we are all connected. When I can tap into my power and my, you know, genius, and each of us can do this, frankly, it's how the world changes. This work has been my life, you know. My wife and I were young parents. You know, we were told that our life was over, you know, that it's a wrap. I think we escaped into each other. We kind of leaned into each other. It was there that, you know, we found our own voices. The larger kind of unhealthy voices in the community didn't guide us. You know, we were able to create something special, create our lives, create Kinte Circle. Can you imagine if I embraced this idea that my life was over because I had a kid at the age of 17? I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have worked with hundreds of people as a professor, as a therapist, as a trainer, as a neighbor, helping other people get their needs met. For me, that's what success is. I don't know if you've ever seen kente cloth. It's this beautiful, complicated weave, made of many different threads. The colors kind of come together and in my opinion, create a story. It's also a complicated mess too, if you look real close to it. Our lives certainly have really been this complicated mess, if you will. But I have to tell you that it's beautiful too. And that really is how we see people, that there's both of those sides to them. To be a Facing Race Award recipient is certainly an honor. For me, facing race means trying to understand we're more than race. We're more than our traumas. In my opinion, we don't change racism by somehow beating down this institutional door. It happens with individuals reclaiming their power, demanding what they want and what they need, and not waiting for someone to tell them what that looks like. Our past is our past, certainly, but the future is also a part of our story. I think many of us can benefit from being brave enough to look towards the future and not the past.
Larry believes we all have the capabilities to tap into our own healing powers. Whether we are the provider or the recipient, we all hold the tools for success. I'd now like to turn it over to the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation's president and CEO, Dr. Eric Jolly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Eric Jolly, president and CEO of the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation. As Alfonso mentioned earlier, the Facing Race Awards are unique because they're chosen by you, the community. And as a statewide community foundation, we have learned that the best ideas, solutions, and outcomes are always community-led and community-owned. This year's awardees perfectly embody our aspiration of creating an equitable, just, and vibrant Minnesota. Ma Elena empowers immigrants in central Minnesota. Tish uses hip-hop as a tool for positive change. Jametta fosters community through her culinary passion. And Larry helps individuals heal and thrive. When we celebrate the champions of racial equity, we also create a space to learn. Their stories are powerful reminders that we all have the potential to make a difference, and can do this by considering how our unique and innate talents can be used as instruments of change. I want to thank you for tuning in to the 2024 Facing Race Awards. If you'd like to learn more about how you can join in our work, visit our website at spmcf.org.